What do you
That's for
think
sure.
people think about Florida that aren't from Florida?
That we snort meth while we're riding our alligators.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty spot on.
Yeah.
That
like
is
I
what
said,
we do.
That's exactly what we do, and we're having a great time doing it. Clear's really good. It's like, I think it's like $180 a year, which if you travel a lot is really not a lot. But
Yeah,
if you get it
and
for free, even
those
better.
sons of bitches always get like put right up in front.
Yeah, it's true. I've shown up to the airport in a suit for one reason or another for like a work thing twice.
Fancy.
Got the free like Clear trial both times. Because I guess like if you show up wearing a suit, you look like you're traveling for business and like you would be like the ideal customer for Clear. So I think they just spot you and see that and they're like, oh, this guy would definitely
That's
get Clear.
what I
Like,
need
put
to
him through.
do. I need to just show up in a suit,
And you get Clear.
a suit and tie. They're like,
Yeah.
ma'am, right over here.
Right over here, your free trial. And I did it with just 2 different emails. Hopefully Clear is not listening, but
They're definitely listening to the pod.
I just outed myself.
Oh, by the way, everybody, this is Brody Vinson. Say hello.
Hello.
We just recorded his podcast. It's called The Profession Session. He's a businessman. And he's here to talk to us today because he's done a little bit of traveling himself. And his podcast setup is so legit.
Thank you.
I'm freaking out.
Thank you.
He's got, you got fake plants in here and everything.
Oh, yeah. It's
Incredible.
part of the whole thing. I can never do real plants. I had like one succulent one time, and I somehow killed a succulent.
Gunner.
Which is like the hardest plant to kill. So
I did the same thing.
fake plants.
I overwatered it, and then there were just bugs coming out of it. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, my God.
These are so much easier. You
Yeah.
don't have to do
My
anything.
whole house has fake plants
Yeah.
everywhere.
And they look pretty real.
I'm like, does it look tacky to other people, though? Do I think it looks good, but it looks
To
tacky?
the plant purists, it probably does.
I don't
They're
think I'm
out
friends with any of those. It's fine. Let's start off by you telling me, you were saying that you do corporate travel a little bit for your
Little bit.
job.
Yeah.
Like, where do you get to go? What do these conferences look like? Because that is right up my alley
Yeah.
with All Fly.
Yeah, so my company, I'm a partner of a staffing company essentially. It's for chefs and cooks, kind of a niche thing, but there's a huge staffing shortage for like high quality chefs and cooks in the industry. And at the same time, coming out of COVID, there was like a lot of them looking for good work and having a lot of trouble finding it.
Yeah.
So a lot of times that causes this kind of necessity to find people for a position out of state. So if there's like our first contract was in Chicago. So
My favorite place
it's
ever.
an awesome place.
Did you
But
love it?
It was awesome. I actually didn't go for that contract because I was busy with something else, but I went like last year for the first time. It was beautiful.
Did you go
Might be
nuts?
going back this year. Did I what?
Did you go nuts?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's like the perfect facilitator of just like going wild.
Yeah. The one time I've been to California a couple times, but the one time I've been to LA and like that like South California was during COVID, so it was like way less traffic. It was like $100 round trip flight, and we were like, man, this is maybe kind of sketchy to do right now, but we're gonna capitalize.
And you say Florida to someone who lives in Los Angeles and they go like this.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a funny thing about like being from Florida is so many people have this like crazy view of it, and we're kind of just like, yeah, you're right. It's awesome.
Florida,
we're
because
nuts
of
here.
COVID, got a whole different
Yeah.
view
Yeah.
from outsiders.
And we're just kind of like, I mean, yeah, we're absolutely crazy here and we're having a great time.
DeSantis is like, we're not closing the bars. I'm not going to do that to my people.
He's like, in fact, everyone rush to him. Have fun.
Literally.
Go nuts.
I think that was what started the Daddy DeSantis movement, where people started calling him Daddy DeSantis.
Yeah. He's letting me go to my regular bar. What more can I want?
Which is so funny. Like,
Yeah.
I think the first time I ever saw it was like a girl was wearing like a baseball cap.
I've seen
It said
this.
Daddy DeSantis. I was like, no,
Yeah.
we shouldn't put that word in front of political figures.
It takes things to a whole nother level. Like, their heads are big enough. They don't need anyone calling them daddy.
What do you
That's for
think
sure.
people think about Florida that aren't from Florida?
That we snort meth while we're riding our alligators.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pretty spot on.
Yeah.
That
like
is
I
what
said,
we do.
That's exactly what we do, and we're having a great time doing it.
Oh my gosh. I know. It was funny. Like when I was just in Australia, my girlfriend was like she's talking about what Australians think of Americans. Or not even. Well, she was just talking about America and everything she was saying. I was like, you're wrong. I was like, how can you guys have such a skewed view?
So I'll ask you the same question. What is their view, like from Australia, what is their view of America?
In the same way we think they're just like kangaroos hopping around in the middle of like the city in Sydney.
I'm imagining like a kangaroo pulling up to like a little CVS self-checkout and just like putting something in its pouch. Like,
do you have a rewards card?
yeah, of course. Let me get that for you. The Joey like pops out and swipes it.
Oh my God, they're so cute. I've actually seen a Joey in real life.
Really?
Yeah. I felt real lucky.
Do they actually like peek out of the little pouch?
Yes.
Does that happen? That's cool.
Yeah, the way that they like pop out in like a stuffed animal and look all cute, like that's really what they look like. And what's insane is the moms are like power hopping. I was about to say running. I was like, I guess they don't run. Power hopping, like the same, probably going like 30, 40 miles an hour.
What?
Yeah.
What?
And I only can vouch for that because I was in a car going about 40 miles an hour and the kangaroo was like keeping up with us. It was freaking nuts. But she had a little baby. Yeah. And so like she's hopping at this insane pace and the baby's just chilling in there. He's just like,
he's along for the ride.
I just didn't know they could go that fast. And I also didn't know they could go that fast with, in pouch like cargo. But have you seen the video of the kangaroo that's like absolutely swole and he like has the dog in a headlock and the guy just like punches him in the face?
Yeah. That's a crazy video.
It's pretty nuts.
Makes me think of Kangaroo Jack. You remember that?
It's such a good movie.
Yeah.
I loved that movie.
If Kangaroo Jack would have had to face off against that kangaroo, things might have been different.
Oh my God. Maybe that's why I moved to Australia, because I just watched Kangaroo Jack so much as a kid.
It planted the seed.
Yeah, subconsciously in the back of my brain, it was always there. Yeah. I can't imagine like punching it in the face though. Like, I guess,
That's a crazy movie.
Desperate times, he was like, for anyone would do anything for your dog. You would punch a kangaroo in the face for your dog.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Sorry to all the kangaroos out there listening, but you touch Sonny, you're done.
You're done. You're done, dude. I feel like a lot of like defense against certain animals is punching them in the face. Like they say, if a shark attacks you, you're supposed to punch it in the face.
Right in the nose, right? That's what I've heard.
My instincts would not allow me to do that.
I don't think mine would either.
I wouldn't be able to pull it off. Like your adrenaline's rushing. You're in the water.
I would think you would just start swimming away. Even though obviously that's not going to work. Like you're not going to think to attack the shark before it attacks you.
And I know that fact, like just punch it in the nose. Like how could I pull it off?
How do you spot its nose too, right? Like it's going to be underwater, like you see the fin coming, you kind of just know you're done and accept it. But like you're just gonna like perfectly time it, and like they swim fast too.
Yeah, I would be done. I would just roll over and float. Take me.
Yeah, this is gonna look great on Jaws.
Oh my God,
definitely making it on Shark Week.
I can barely swim, so like just take me.
It's not gonna work out.
No, I'd be done for. Also, I hear that they don't really like the way you taste. They just like,
I've heard that too.
They bite you and then they go like, ew, that's gross. And then they leave. But
I feel like I think I would want them to finish the job. Like, hear me out here. Like, I don't think I would want just like a half of me bitten off and then just left to like look at what just happened to me. Like, I would want them to just finish the job.
It'd probably be like a good like opening line if you were trying to pick up chicks, Shark attack.
Shark attack. Yeah.
Stupid. Tell me about, we were kind of talking a little bit about hostels.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to hear, number one, where were they?
Yep.
Number two, what was the weirdest thing that's happened to you at a hostel? Number three, how much did it cost? Because I've never done it. I would love to try. I'm terrified.
3 distinct experiences that I remember. I want to say we stayed in 2 different ones in Peru. But I'll start with that. That was the most recent. So I went to Peru back in I want to say August or September of last year, and it was awesome. And we saw Machu Picchu. We saw
that's my dream.
it was beautiful. And if you're thinking about doing Machu Picchu, do it soon, because they're like it's getting more and more polluted, and they're thinking about like closing it down. Sometimes it does get closed down.
I think they should.
Yeah,
I hate
think
saying that.
Having seen it, I agree.
Yeah, having seen it already.
Yeah, having like checked it off, like
you brat.
Yeah. But I agree. It's like it's so beautiful, and like little stuff happens. Like people are just walking on it, kind of disrupting it. People will throw trash and stuff, which sucks. Yeah.
And they're llamas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alpacas, maybe both, but there was definitely alpacas.
Are they different?
I think they are, but I don't ask me the difference. I don't know. But yeah, I have like a picture that I took with a group of them. Like they were right there on the path as you walk through, so it's crazy.
Nice.
But it was awesome. So we did Machu Picchu. We did ATVs through the Rainbow Mountains, which I also recommend. They're beautiful. It's like you get to the top of them, and it's this like beautiful kind of like rainbow colored landscape behind you. And just the whole ride up, like you got to do ATVs to go up them, because you get to see like the whole thing change as you go up, and it's awesome.
Rainbow Mountain.
Yeah.
That's a great name.
It is, right? And it's literal. It's very literal. Like it literally, like you see the colors change as you go up, and like you're super high up. So that was awesome. We did Lima and Cusco. Those are like the two major cities we went to. Lima, we were supposed to just have a layover in, but we ended up getting there one day early, because we left early because there was a hurricane about to hit Florida.
Ooh.
This was when, I forget what the name of it was, but the really big one was coming through. And so we left like one day early, got out right before the hurricane hit, and like had an extra day. So we checked out Lima. Lima's beautiful. There's like so much going on there. The beaches are cool. They're
the capital?
I think so.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure it's the capital. So it's like the biggest city. There's like so much cool stuff. So we were in a hostel in Lima, and then we were in another one in Cusco that were like owned by the same company.
Big hostel guy over
Big
here.
hostel guy.
Very hostile, this guy.
It's so cheap. It's
yeah.
crazy cheap. So I've done it 4 times then, 4 different hostels, and we did the math. It's a friend of mine that I've gone with a bunch of times, my friend Michael, and he's the best because he plans these trips. He loves doing it. But we go and like we do the math when we stay in these hostels, and for each day that you stay in it, it's cheaper than like if you were to take like the daily amount that you pay for your apartment back home in like every case, by maybe like $10 to $15 a day. So,
what?
Yeah. They're like $19-20 a day to stay in.
I know. I just
Sometimes
would
less.
feel so unsafe.
And that's the thing, like especially like for a girl traveling alone, like I would say it could be a little sketchy. Like you really don't necessarily know what you're getting yourself into. So every time I've done it, I've been with someone, and I feel better about that, because new country, you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
It's like you don't know who's going to be there.
I could just go incognito. I could like strap a beer belly.
Yeah.
Thingy, like a mustache.
Draw on a beard. Yeah.
Fake stash.
Yeah.
Just look really terrifying and unassuming.
Mm-hmm. That's maybe the way to do it. That's just get your feet wet with it doing that, and
for
maybe
$15 a night.
It's ridiculous.
I might do that.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been. It's always been like somewhere between like $15-$25 a night, something like that, depending on the place.
Shit. What's like Peruvian food? It's like rice and beans and
ceviche is another thing that they have that's really good. I mean, you can get that here, but Peruvian ceviche is fantastic.
Ceviche is so good, and you just feel real healthy.
Oh, yeah. We had some like right on the beach too, like this restaurant in Lima, like right there overlooking the beach. It was awesome.
Why don't you brag about it?
But I definitely recommend that. And I mean, you can, the cool thing I like about hostels, right, because they're so cheap. I mean, there's a bunch of cool things. They're so cheap, so you can kind of focus on like using your budget for the trip on like the experiences and like the things that you want to do. The other thing though is that it's a complete roll of the dice, like who you're gonna meet there. Like in every case that we've done it, there's just been a bunch of people from like other random countries that happen to be there, and they're doing the same thing you're doing, coming in to travel and see the place and bringing their own kind of unique experiences from their country. So you feel like you get like a little like global effect, so to speak, like just in the one country you're visiting. You get to talk to people from wherever they're from and like hear about their perspective, like hear what they think about Americans. That's always fun, like we were talking about.
It's a little melting pot.
Exactly. They're like really cool little melting pots.
Did you hang out with any of them? Like,
yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, so not really in Peru because we didn't have time. But I guess I'll move on from the Peru stuff. The first hostel that I ever stayed in was in the Canary Islands. So I had this crazy trip last year too, where we did Iceland, the Canary Islands, and Morocco. Most random combination of places.
Yeah, what?
And I'll explain.
Those are not near each other.
It sounds like it wouldn't make any sense, and to an extent it doesn't, but if you plan it like a certain way, it's like, so it's very expensive to fly to Iceland, and it's very expensive to fly to the Canary Islands. But if you fly to Iceland and then the Canary Islands, it's a lot cheaper for that flight in between. So it's like two really cool places that you can knock out as like one part of the trip. And Pro tip. And then the Canary Islands are like right off the coast of Morocco. I didn't realize this until we planned this trip. Yeah. But because they're so close, this is going to sound insane. It was an $11 flight. $11 flight.
No.
Yeah. Each way. $11 each way.
That's $22 round trip.
Yeah.
Is still shocking.
Stupid, like crazy. I don't think the planes had seatbelts, but
yeah.
So it was kind of sketchy.
Did you know that like you were going to go there, or were you there and you were like, that's cheap as hell, I'll go?
It was all planned out. So
okay.
My friend Michael that plans these has like these intricately detailed iPhone notes.
I need to know Michael.
Yeah.
I need to meet him immediately.
He's the best. He knows exactly how to put these together.
I'm the you in this situation where my friend's like, this is what we're doing. I'm like, let's do what you said.
Yes. But he does these, and we'll plan them out and we'll go. So it was like pretty planned beforehand, and then we kind of just fill in the gaps as we go.
Yeah.
But it was expensive to fly to Iceland, so we flew there, and then we had like the round trip to Iceland as the main thing, right? So it was a 17-day trip. We knew we were going to get there and end up there and leave back from there. Then there's another round trip flight to the Canary Islands and then within that, imagine like 3 sets of kind of parentheses coming in. You got Iceland, Canary Islands, Morocco.
Damn.
So from the Canary Islands, we went to Morocco, and that was like the most like inside part of the trip. We were there for a little bit, and then we came back to the Canary Islands. Were there for a little longer, and then went to Iceland, and then ended the trip there.
Was Morocco, like as I picture it in my head, was that like one of the most different places you've ever been?
It was intense.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would recommend doing it the way we did it. So we had no structure, no like travel plans to it. We're going to rent a car and drive around Morocco. And if I went back, I don't know if I would go back, but if I went back, I mean, it was awesome, but if I went back, I would for sure have like a travel guide because we had no idea what we were doing. And there's like checkpoints all over the place. Like you're just driving around and like you regularly have to stop at these checkpoints and the guards just come up to you. They're called the Royal Guard, which is wild. They look like they're like out of Star Wars. Like they wear these crazy uniforms because Morocco is a kingdom still in like a literal sense. Like there is a king that rules Morocco.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a very different kind
I
of
learned
thing.
this weirdly enough like 2 days ago, and I was shocked to hear it.
Yeah.
There is an actual king and queen.
We didn't get to see the king or queen, but we drove by the palace, and it's crazy. Like, have you ever seen the pictures of North Korea where, like, there's, like, these, like, the main city in North Korea, crazy, intricately, like, decorated and massive, like, giant flags and fountains and stuff, and it just looks beautiful? That's what the main city of Rabat looks like in Morocco. So Rabat is the capital, and that's where the king lives most of the time. Then he has his summer palace up in the north. Of course.
To be royalty.
I know.
Wow.
So we saw that a little bit too, but you drive by it and it's just like, it's crazy. It looks just like that, but the rest of the country is like completely third world.
It's pretty
like
destitute.
It is.
Yeah.
So we saw like the whole thing. Like we flew into Agadir, which is like in the south of Morocco, and it was a totally different story. It was like people just kind of walking around, like doing their own thing, and like it's a totally different picture. There's trash all over the place, which that was really tough to see.
Sad.
Yeah, it was really
Did you see any of the markets that I think of in my head?
Yes. So Fez we went to a bunch of different cities because we were just driving around the whole time.
Because we were trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah, exactly. But Fez is where you want to go if you want to see the markets. It's just like the whole thing is like full of these different markets, and you go through and like people will just find you. So a big thing about Morocco, and a reason we should have had it guided, is people are constantly trying to run different like games or scams on you. So you have to be very wary of that if you're going.
Oh my God, I would not do well there.
And they're good.
I'm so gullible.
They're really good at it. Like they will like find like another thing, like if you're trying to avoid that, you have to always walk everywhere you're going with a purpose. Like know exactly where you're going.
Did you get scammed?
Yes. Not too bad. Not too bad. So I'll get to that. Like there's a lot of different things. I'm kind of all over the place, but Fez is where you want to go for the markets. And we just walked around. We ended up, my friend bought this like cool, like genuine leather jacket, and we got to see that whole process, like the leather tanning. And it was beautiful. Like it was really, really cool to see those and so many unique things. So the famous scamming story.
The scam.
So this was it. I was talking about Fez before. There's some scams going on in there, not anywhere near as bad as Marrakesh. Marrakesh was a nightmare.
The only place in Morocco I've ever actually heard of.
Yeah, it's like one of the, it's not the capital, Rabat's the capital, but it's maybe like the second most known city.
Yeah, it's the most touristy.
Most touristy. There's like a lot of cool stuff to do there, a lot of big marketplaces and stuff, but we got scammed hard.
Scammed hard.
Yeah. So again, we were renting a car, just driving around, and we had this tour to go, like, we were going to meet up with this guy, and he was going to take us to ride camels. And we were like running late. We were trying to find a place to park in Marrakesh. One of the big scams is like fake parking attendants, and that does kind of play into this.
Oh,
Crazy.
That's so dirty.
Yeah, these dudes, like, they just wear like these fake parking attendant like orange vests, and they seemingly just like spawn out of nowhere. Like you won't see them anywhere. You'll park, and then all of a sudden they're like running up to your car. So you have to like park somewhere and just run. Like, because it's not like a real thing. There are no signs. It's not like there's nothing actually enforcing it. It's literally just like that's what they're trying to do to get by, which is crazy.
Sad.
But it is. It's really the tough thing about Morocco is like it was like seeing like what some people felt like they had to do to like make a living and kind of did have to do, and it was very eye-opening, and it made me very thankful for what we have. But so for that reason, I mean, I do recommend seeing something like that for everyone. Like it's a good thing to really give you perspective on like how great a lot of the things we have are.
How all the stupid shit we worry about all the time means nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But getting back to my scam story. So we were trying to find parking in this chaotic city. I have the video of us like driving through it because it was just nuts. It's all like two-way, one-lane streets. So like if you're going one way, someone else comes the other way. Like something's got to give. You just have to figure it out. Like someone has to back up. And meanwhile, there's like horse and carriages going through. There's like motorcycles and segways, like people running around. It's nuts.
Seeing like a horse and buggy next to a Segway would be very funny.
Another little tangent. In Agadir on our way out, we got stuck in a roundabout because some guy just left his horse and buggy parked in the roundabout. And we had to just wait while there's like
Typical.
traffic building up for this horse and buggy. And then the guy just leisurely walks back and hops in and he's like, all right, I'm done.
It's like, I got it.
Yeah, so that was
Had to
nuts.
get something.
Yeah. But anyway, we were in Marrakesh trying to park, and we get stuck in this like really narrow road where we're like, how do we even get out of here? And all of a sudden, this group of like three dudes pulls up on like little like motorcycle scooters, and they're like, hey, this way to get off the street, you have to get out of here. You can't go this way. And that's how the scam starts, right? They get you like you're kind of a captive audience. Like you have to get out somehow, and like you're blocked on like all sides, so you kind of have to follow them, and they like clear the way for you. But they expect you to pay them for it. Like they come up like they're just helping you, and then like at the end they're going to ask you for money, and like you kind of have to be prepared for that. So we were like driving out, and we had kind of just decided like, hey, we're so stuck that we have to just accept this. We know that it's obviously a scam, but we're gonna.
Oh, you knew you were getting scammed.
Yeah, at first. So there's multiple layers to this scam though. It gets nuts. So that was the first part of it, and so we're following them, and we had kind of just decided, all right, this is clearly a scam. Like they're going to ask us for money, but let's just tell them like we need a place to park, and we'll think of it as like our cost for parking is just like getting out of here, getting there. So they lead us to this spot. Eventually we get parked, and we give them a little bit of money, and you have to if you're going to do that, if you're going to pay them for something, you have to find like a private place to do it, because the second we handed them anything, we were swarmed because they just saw that we were giving them money for something, and they were like, oh, we want a piece of it.
They're like, look at these rich boys.
Exactly. So we got swarmed, and then we had the car parked. We were just trying to get out of there without like being broke, because we had like a certain amount of cash to like get us through what we had planned. So we were just trying to get out of there, and then this guy came up, and he was like a fake parking attendant, and he had the orange vest and everything, and he was trying to get us to pay for the parking. And the guys were still there that had taken us there, and they were like, don't pay him, this is fake. Like, they had just gotten paid. So we're like, what's going on here? The
scammers are like, he's a scammer, no, you're
Exactly.
What?
Like that Spider-Man meme where they're all like pointing at each other.
They're all bad.
Yeah. So like we were like dealing with that. We were like, oh my God, like it's not a real parking thing. How do we get out of here though? And then eventually the parking attendant guy kicks our car. So we're like freaking out. We're like, what?
It's a rental.
It's a rental. Exactly. This tiny little Fiat that barely fit us. So he kicks the car, and we're like, oh my God, is this about to like escalate? And anyway, like another guy pulled up on a moped that wasn't even involved in the other thing. And he was like, oh, he's terrible. I'm going to get him out of here. And he like talked the parking attendant down and got him to leave. And so we're like, okay.
Why are all these people like homies?
That's the thing. We think, and there's no way to confirm this, we think it was all part of one organized thing. Because it goes further. This guy that pulls up, like, gets him to stop, and then he asks for money for getting the parking attendant to go away. And we're like, bro, no, like, we just paid these guys for parking.
We didn't even ask you.
Exactly. So we had to tell him no, and then another guy comes up. And meanwhile, most of these people don't really speak much English, so there's a language barrier too. Like, we're having a tough time even communicating with them, but they're just like kind of asking for money.
Yeah.
But the one guy on the moped gets the parking attendant to go away. We tell him no about the money, and then another guy comes up finally that does speak like fluent English, and he was like, don't pay him, he's fake. Like, same story. And so he's like, hey, I know where you're, like, we told him we were trying to go to the camel thing, and he was like, oh, I can show you there. And we're like, here we go.
Yeah, they
like,
definitely target like the tourist activities, of course.
Yes. So eventually he gets everyone to go away. We're just happy to be out of this like chaotic crowded situation and not get the car kicked anymore. So we get out of there, we're following this guy, and we get like 2 minutes into the like trip of him taking us, and he starts telling us about his argan oil shop. And he was like, those are all just scammers. Me, I'm a reputable businessman. I have an argan oil shop. You should come check it out. And we're like, oh no. And so my friend Michael is like looking this all up on his phone, because we had looked up like the motorcycle thing initially. And he found a list on Google that was like top 10 scams in Morocco. First one was the motorcycle scam, and like the third or fourth one was argan oil shop. So we're like, oh my God, like this is like a scam within a scam within a scam within a scam. Scamception, exactly. So we're like multiple layers deep at this point. We're like following this guy, and we're like, I mean, if it gets us to where we're going, like maybe we'll just throw him a couple bucks for like being our tour guide, and we'll just say, hey, we don't have time for the argan oil shop, because we're like 15 minutes late for our camel tour at this point too.
Also, you're trying to ride a camel. You don't need oils.
Exactly. We're like, don't need argan oil for any reason.
Girls
but, like,
love that shit. What's the guy gonna do with some argan oil?
We were not his demo. He didn't care. He just wanted us to bring us into the shop and like sell us some for like him helping us out. So we're like, all right, maybe
so
we'll
it really
like,
was real?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, it was
Why does
we never
that
saw
make me feel like he has like a little more of a redeemable quality?
I think so.
You really do.
We never actually saw the shop though, so I'll get to like what the whole thing was. So we had told him that we were in a rush and stuff, and I think we even suggested just giving him like a little tip or something, and he was like, no, you like have to come to the shop. Like he basically wouldn't take no for an answer on our way, like as we were going to the camel shop or the camel tour, and we were already late. So we were like, all right, we have to get out of this. Like I was like, hey, I'll drop a pin. I handed him like my phone on the maps, and I said, just drop a pin on your shop and we'll come afterwards. And that got him to finally like accept it. He was like, okay, just come later. And eventually,
okay, they'll come to my shop.
Yeah. And so that finally like gave us an excuse to kind of get out of there. But on the way he was still gonna like show us how to get through the city. And on the way there was a part where it got really sketchy. We got actually kind of scared, because we were like surrounded by people through most of it. It was like hustling and bustling streets. And eventually we get through this little alleyway, And we like looked at each other and just realized it's just that guy up ahead of us and no one around us in this crowded kind of alleyway.
You're like, it's going to happen again.
Yeah, it's going to happen again. Or like these little kids are going to be playing soccer around the corner and just all like Julius Caesar us, like take our wallets. Like we're like getting really nervous.
You get robbed by like a bunch of 7-year-olds.
Yeah, because I feel like I've seen that happen in like movies and stuff. And so we're like, oh my God, just like on edge from the whole thing. We get through that safely, luckily enough, and just get to the other side. And we just tell the guy, like, hey, we've got the pin drop, but we have to run. And we just booked it, and we found the camel guy, and we rode him.
So you were on a camel?
Yes. Yes. I did end up on a camel.
Oh my God, what a mess and a half.
It was crazy.
Jeez.
It was literally like all of the top like 5-6 scams, just like one after another, like just building into.
And you weren't even there that long, right?
In Morocco in general or the city?
Morocco.
5 days.
Oh,
so we were there for a little while.
shit.
Yeah, so we got like a good taste of it actually.
Yikes.
It was longer than I think we should have been there, but we got to see a lot of different cool stuff. One place that was really cool was Tangier. It was like where the Summer Palace was. I think that's what it's called. I think I'm getting that right. And then I think their like Moroccan dish that they have there is called the tangine. It's like similar to the Peruvian thing. It's like these unique kind of bowls that they have that are just so good.
I'm so hungry.
I'd be getting something mixed up there, but there's definitely one of the two of them has the tangine, and it's fantastic.
Africa's so cool. That's
It
like
really is.
Definitely on my list.
You gotta try.
But apparently a safari is like one of the most expensive vacations you can possibly take.
I can see that. There's a lot.
If you could have taken 3 days off of your 5-day Morocco trip and dispersed them between,
like what you should definitely
would
do.
you have rather gone longer to Iceland or the Canary Islands?
Ooh, Canaries, because we were only collectively in the Canaries for like 3 days, I want to say, and we were in Iceland for 7 days. And Iceland was like, there's a lot to see there, and we basically went around like the whole country because it's not that big, but there's a lot to see.
Yeah.
We had a car rented. We saw pretty much everything we set out to in the 7 days, so that was like perfect. But the Canary Islands, we were just on the one island. The name is Tenerife, is the main one, so that's where we were staying.
Nice.
And that island is crazy. There's like a volcano, beaches, forests, deserts, all on one island, and it's like you could get from one side to the other in like an hour and a half. Like it's not huge, but it just has all this like diverse like environment.
That's cool that you've been to places that like people, especially people that live in America, like would never go to in their lifetime.
And the cool thing we found out about Tenerife is like you would never think to go there, but it actually is kind of like the Caribbean for Europeans. Like a lot of Europeans go there to vacation because
Like the Hawaii of Africa.
yeah. So there was like the hostel we stayed in there. It was all just like different European countries. Like this guy's from Germany. This guy's from like Norway. This guy's from Romania. Like all different countries. So we got to get a really like interesting sense of Europe. And we found out that I guess I probably should have assumed this or realized this. Like, but the second language of most European countries is English. So like most of the people that were there spoke English pretty fluently, which was really cool because I am very much behind on my language for most countries.
Oh my God.
Like to the point where I'm ashamed. Like
I want to learn Italian, and I tried for
Italian would be cool.
I just made it sound like I actually tried. I gave it a real college try, you know?
Yeah.
I need to get on that. That would be so amazing to go somewhere you've always wanted to go, like Italy, and just be able to
actually know the language.
Yeah. I only know one word.
What's the word?
Piacere.
What does that mean?
It means pleased to meet you.
Piacere.
Piacere.
You got to do the little hand thing, right?
Yeah, the
That's
hand.
like, I don't think your point really gets across unless you have like the little hand.
I'm going to start speaking English like this, too.
Yeah.
So.
Just throw people off, especially if you're in an Italian restaurant. You're like, I'm here to pick up my pizza.
the Mamma Mia hands, but I just talk normal.
God. So I met this Italian guy in Tenerife that was like, he was like from there originally, but had moved to Tenerife and spoke like really good Italian, but also spoke English. And I never thought this would happen. It's the bucket list item I never realized I had. But he legitimately used "Mamma Mia" as like an exclamation, like in the middle of a sentence. He was like getting really excited about something, and he was just like "Mamma Mia," like with his hand. And
It's real?
It's real.
Holy shit.
At least to an extent.
I thought that was like a movie thing.
I thought so too. He might have just been messing with us, but there's a good chance. But
Wasn't really Italian.
yeah, maybe not.
You just fucking-
But it just like it clicked. We were like, oh my god, that just happened.
Mamma Mia.
But yeah, in general, like Tenerife was so cool for that reason. Like you just get so many like unique experiences, environmentally, culturally, and it's like the Caribbean of Europe. So you get a really cool taste of Europe at the same time.
Nice.
There's a volcano there called El Teide that we went on, and it was awesome. You could just hike around it. Luckily, didn't get any lava on us or anything.
Volcanoes are insane. Even like, I mean, I grew up like in Louisiana. It's kind of nuts to even see a mountain to me.
Yeah.
Like going from Louisiana to Minnesota to Florida, I'm like, a mountain? Like I go to Colorado and my brain just explodes. I'm not used to seeing it. It's just as like striking as it was the first time.
I've never been to Colorado, but I'm going actually to Denver next weekend. I'm really excited.
What are you going to do?
We're probably we're staying right in like downtown Denver, and we're probably just gonna like, we have like a couple things that we found on TikTok, like little cool things to see. And we're definitely gonna go see like the amphitheater, like the Red Rocks amphitheater, and kind of like walk around that. And then in general, we're just gonna kind of like check out the city. We don't have much planned. Like we just have like a couple ideas. We're there for like Friday to Monday.
I'll send you some spots.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm totally open to doing whatever there. I think it'll be cool.
That'll be really fun. It's the weather, like even when it's frigid in Colorado, it's still nice.
Yeah.
Because it's like dry cold. So it doesn't feel as like bone chilly.
I wouldn't have guessed that. You get that with heat too. Like if you're in like the western climate and it's really hot. Like I was in California one time and we checked like the weather. It was 118 degrees where we were at. But we're like, it kind of feels like 80.
Not as bad as muggy Florida summer.
Like you're not really like sweating that much, but it does sneak up on you with like you got to be drinking water because it just like hits you out of nowhere.
Is that your main travel tip? Brody Vinson's main travel tip?
Yeah. Drink water.
Yeah.
I guess life tip in general. If you take anything away from this podcast, drink water.
Drink more water, y'all.
Drink more water. H2O makes you good to go. Strike that from the record.
Yeah.
Edit that out.
I'm editing that out.
Yeah, please.
Lame.
That never happened.
Anyway. That's a perfect place to wrap up, I think.
Yeah.
H2O is the way to go.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for hanging out with me.
Absolutely. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for having me on and letting me tell my crazy stories.
You've been to some weird fucking places, sir.
I have. And out of those 3 from that one trip, I didn't cover it as much, but Iceland was my favorite. It's like you're on an alien planet.
Isn't the food there funky?
Yeah, I had, I forget what they call it, but I had like fermented piss-soaked shark. That's their thing. Gross.
What?
Totally gross, but it's like a rite of passage.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They give it to you in this tiny cube, but like I'm guessing they do a bigger version of it if they're like natives. But they said it's like it's like a kind of an ancient thing that they used to do that's become like kind of a touristy thing.
Yeah, that like Vikings
kinda
used
like,
to do.
Arguably, yeah, literally like the Vikings used to do. Arguably hazing if you're visiting there, like I would say, but it was disgusting, but it was like a rite of passage. So
if you don't eat it, it's like you're not in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite place I've ever gone. Like other country, it was crazy to look at.
Nice.
Yeah,
did you go in a lagoon?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a blue, it might have just been called the Blue Lagoon.
I think it is. That's like the most popular one.
That's the main one.
Yeah.
And it's like a spa too. So like you get in, like you go through this whole little like spa thing. Like we didn't add like the full package, but you go through this like beautiful locker room and get all set up and get in there, and then they give you like, you can get drinks like in the lagoon. There's like a little like walk up bar, and they put like a black facial mask on you, so it was awesome. Very relaxing.
Just you and your boys.
Me and the boys just soaking with our face masks.
You and your bros in charcoal face
just the homies wearing charcoal. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Highly recommend it for all the boys out there.
You just gotta do face masks in a lagoon with your bros
yes,
sometimes.
Next boys trip. Maybe it'll be my bachelor trip one day. We'll see.
Honestly,
It's the way to do it.
Looking pretty fresh for the wedding.
Unconventional, but yeah.
My skin is glowing.
Exactly.
That's funny.
Big takeaway, yeah, visit Iceland if you can. It's awesome. But yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. This was awesome.
Totally. You want to plug your stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So I host a podcast mostly about business, but also about fun. We just did an episode before this, and it was really cool. We talked about other travel stuff and also about how Connor Ann got this awesome podcast started and got her job. And check it out on all platforms. I put out clips on Instagram, YouTube, Shorts, and TikTok. And then I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, everything, all the podcast platforms.
Brody Vincent?
Yes, BrodyVincent.io on Instagram, and then at Profession Session on all platforms.
Yeah. Thank you, dude.
Thank you.
Later, nerds.
Later.